Dakota, start the show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your source for No Cringe Commander. Not the cringest commander content. That would be somebody else.
Yeah,
This is your host,
Just go ahead
Dakota.
and pick. Find somebody that has more than... How many subscribers do we have? 44?
44.
Find somebody with 45 and up subscribers. That's what you're looking for. You want to find cringe.
My promise to you is that while I'm on this show, at no point will Tyler or I ever paint our fingernails.
Yeah, or wear a shirt that promotes having certain relationships with children. We will not do that. Instead, we will do our jobs of talking about expensive cardboard and keep it to that pretty much.
And speaking of expensive cardboard, we have a somewhat actually shockingly expensive deck.
Yeah, it's expensive because there's a couple of cards you have to have in to make it good. But Dakota, how long have we been playing Magic together? Let me light this stogie real fast.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to your ASMR
Yeah,
section.
hold on.
of the-
Yeah, let's just restart that shit real quick. Hold on. I'm smoking a Factory Smokes by... Who the fuck makes this? It's Drew Estate.
Whoever they are, if they want to sponsor us and give us money, they're great.
They're not going to sponsor
Smoke.
us. Are you smoking yet? Yeah, let me light this stogie real fast. We are outdoor vibing yet again.
We smoke stogies indoors. We don't have to go into the streets and hide out like you.
And you ask me, what does my wife think? Well, I am stronger than my wife. So what do you think she thinks about my stogies? I do not have to go and hide like you. This deck tech is in honor of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He has a funny last name that can get you into trouble in certain places.
Uh-oh. So, anyways, Dakota.
Yeah.
The opposite of what could get you in trouble. This is a mono white deck. And you know me, Dakota. I've been... What, was that the line? Was that the line right there? That was it?
Matter of fact, we have one banned card in this deck. It's called Crusade.
Fuck, I have to go add that now. Add Crusade to this deck.
Add Crusade to this deck.
But
so we're about 2 minutes into our EDH podcast where we do deck techs and have not announced our commander yet or our theme or anything alike the sorts.
Yeah,
it's been a while. We've missed you.
Yeah, I did miss you guys. I love doing the show. This is a deck tech that I've been trying to make happen for about 3 years or so. Well, not the deck tech, but the deck idea itself, I should say. I love dragons. Plain and simple, yeah, I know. Real creative, Tyler. You picked one of the most popular types in Magic. Well, you know, at least I don't play elves, motherfucker. And if I do, they're mono black.
Dragging my nuts across your face. So who's our commander, Tyler?
Yo, you motherfuckers already know I got that Nadar Selfless Paladin, baby. Okay. We're going to try to do, instead of just showing you the Architect page, we're going to try to scroll through to give it a better viewing experience. And also because we think that if we don't know what we're doing, certainly you won't know what we're doing.
Also, Dakota is lazy and he doesn't feel like doing a PowerPoint.
Yeah, fuck the PowerPoints. So, what's the concept behind this deck? Well, we want to play mono white and we want to play dragons. It's not a thing you're going to see very often when you go down to your LGS. It is going to be a lot less powerful than your buddy's Atraxa Proliferate deck. It's not going to be as good as Lathril Blade of the Elves, but I tell you what, it should be fun. And so we've got pretty much every mono white dragon. I believe every actual mono white dragon is in this deck, along with some of the artifact colorless ones and a couple other things here and there, with stuff to support. And we've gotten a lot of different dragon support in recent years, and so this deck has become a bit more viable. But I would recommend, if you know of anything in particular that you think could help this deck after watching the show, please put it in the comment section, because I have a vested interest in making this deck happen. This is one that I want to put in paper, so if you could help me out, I would appreciate that, because I'm a nerd, but even I miss stuff. So, anyways, let's read the commander and we'll get started in the deck tech. Nadar Selfless Paladin. He costs 3. He's a 3/3 with Vigilance. He's a Dragon Knight, which is incredibly based. Whenever Nadar Selfless Paladin enters the battlefield or attacks, venture into the dungeon. Then, other creatures you control get +1/+1 as long as you've completed a dungeon. So, okay, let's keep it straight here. Nadar isn't that powerful, but why is he the commander of this deck? Because there is a very, very big problem with this deck, Dakota. And can you, after you get done sipping that delicious beer you have, would you tell us what that problem is?
Dragons are expensive, and we're playing white, which has the worst options to ramp.
Yep, that's pretty much it. That's about. Let me get that smoke in your face, my guy.
Smoke.
Are you smoking yet, kids? So, Nadar. The reason we had him be the commander rather than Icing Death or Al the Dawn Sky or Yosei the Morning Star is because he costs 3 and he is going to give you a little bit of value when he starts doing things. And he's got Vigilance, which makes it no big deal to do that. So I went ahead and took the liberty of pulling up the dungeon cards, and I'm not sure how this works with the Underdark dungeon, but if it works, then just add it. If it doesn't, whatever. Or just ask your friends if they care.
It does not work with the Undercity. You can only enter the Undercity or the Underground or whatever it's called by taking the initiative or having the initiative on your upkeep.
Gotcha. Well, doesn't matter. We have plenty of options over here. So Dungeon of the Mad Mage gives you a lot of options. Lost Mine Fan Doubler gives you less options. Tomb of Annihilation, even less options, but you get to the end of the line quick. If you really want to get that +1/+1 with Nadar, then blast through Tomb of Annihilation and do it in like a couple turns, something like that.
The bad part about Nadar is he does not give your creatures +1/+1 for each dungeon you've completed. He only gives your creatures +1/+1 if you've completed a dungeon. So
I would love to see a deck that just blasts Tomb of Annihilation over and over, just so you could eventually get like that +5 bonus. And then, Nadar dies, comes back. Well, it doesn't change how many dungeons you've completed.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's just not quite how it works. So we're having to take that one off the chin. So, you can look at these options and pick whatever you would like. My personal suggestion is Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Don't worry about completing the dungeon, because it's not that big of a deal to get the Anthem. But you do get value and you gain 1 life. You scry. You can make a treasure token. Scry 2. Impulse draw off of Runestone Carvers. Scry 3. And then you actually get to draw 3 cards and then cast 1 for free, which is pretty cool. It's going to take you a long time to do it because we really don't have any other dungeon effects. If that's something that interests you, then add them in. But this is a mono white dragon deck at its heart. So, but we figured we'd show these to you as well. So, anyways, let's get on to the next card in the list. This is the start of our Anthem section.
We got Adaptive Automaton, 3 mana construct. He's a 2/2. When he enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. I wonder what creature type we're choosing.
Butterfly.
Dragons. It comes in.
Necron.
Is the Adaptive Automaton is the chosen type, so he's going to be a dragon construct. And other creatures you control the chosen type can get +1/+1.
Cool. He's just a small dragon.
He's literally your commander, but better. Because he just immediately gives them the +1/+1.
I would not say it better, but it does give a good Anthem right off to the start. Next card. This is one of the later editions. Thank you, Dakota. Very cool. Dragon's Disciple. This artwork, fun fact, if you play D&D, this is the artwork for the Way of the Ascendant Dragon Monk in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. Yes, I am a nerd. No, I do not have sex.
D&D's nuts.
D&D's nuts. Pay 2. You get a 1/3 human monk. When it enters the battlefield, you can excuse me, you can show a dragon card from your hand. Now, if you do that and you control a dragon, then this thing enters with a +1/+1 counter, which is pretty cool. Furthermore, what we're really here for and why he's in the Anthem section is because he gives our dragons Ward 1, which we're not really that much of a threat in this deck anyway, but it is a little nice to have 1 layer of protection to make it a little bit more difficult so that somebody can't just hold up the 1 mana they need for their Swords to Plowshares and blast our fucking Scale Lord Reckoner.
Right. You know? I mean, if you get your Scale Lord Reckoner Path to Exile and you go find a land, that kind of sucks. But I mean, you're paying 1 to get ramped. You're not. They're paying 1 to ramp you a little bit. Not terrible. Now they're paying 2 to ramp you. That's a lot worse.
Yep, it's a pretty decent card, especially when it's like covering blanket effect over all your dragons. Next, Metallic Mimic. This guy's a lot like Adaptive Automaton, but about like $9 more expensive. So when it enters, choose a creature type. Dragon. It's a dragon. Each other creature you control that is a dragon drags their nuts across the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter worth of damage. Pretty simple
card. Call that
shit
Kodiak.
Rip our boy who did not want to come hang out with us. Sylvia Brightspear, a great Anthem.
Unironically, probably the best Anthem and one of the best support cards in this deck.
And how many other commanders are 3 mana 2/2 with double strike?
Not many.
This thing could be your commander if you wanted it to, and just be the mono white side of the things.
I could
But
probably argue that is probably the route you want to go, actually.
you think that's better than actually adding Korvath Bright Flame?
I think that's better than Nadar.
I think that Sylvia might actually be better than Nadar as far as the anthem goes.
But she ain't a dragon, so fuck her.
Yeah, but she do not be a dragon. But something for your consideration. There you go. You have an option.
And in case you didn't know what she did, since we didn't read the card, she
Well,
gives
she
all
gives
your
double
creatures
strike,
double
doesn't-
strike.
Oh yeah,
All your
yeah,
dragons double strike.
that's cool. And she herself has double strike. I feel like there's a case to be made for somebody to make the Sylvia Bright Spear Voltron deck.
Yeah,
It's
what does
so
Korvath
it's
do?
so small. Korvath, I don't fucking know what Korvath does.
It gives your knights something.
But
I
you
think
get-
he gives your knights flying
Oh yeah, he does that. I can't remember if he has anything
because
else.
she ride dragon.
Which is a really cool combination. So this is an older win condition, but it's an oldie and it's still a goodie, and especially in a deck where we don't care about the 3 white pips in it, it's really good. True Conviction.
3 mana and 3 white, so it's cost inclusive if you're not in a mono white
Dakota,
deck.
were you not listening to a goddamn thing I just said?
No. Creatures you control have double strike and lifelink.
Wow, thank you, Dakota. Very cool. Very powerful. Great way to win a game. Great way to get a lot of life on your
The
side.
important part, I'd argue, with True Conviction is to really hold it up until you got a board state and at least one creature that can attack, because you don't want to pay 6 mana, wait a turn, cast a dragon, wait a turn, and then attack with the dragon. So always play True Conviction last.
Yeah, that kind of hurts. And it does draw removal because it is very powerful.
That's true.
Yo, Alabaster Dragon. This
We're
is my
at
favorite
the
artwork.
dragons.
Favorite artwork in the deck. This is the dragon section. This is the meat and potatoes of what you're here for. So buckle up. We're gonna have some weird shit to talk about. Alabaster Dragon is a 4/4 for 6 with flying. Boom, baby. It doesn't get much better than that.
That's actually one of the best traits in the deck, too.
Yeah, it's one of the better dragons. So if it's put into any graveyard from play, shuffle it into its owner's library. So you can get it back out later. It's in here because it's white, and it's a cool dragon with artwork. Ancestor Dragon.
Which is a 6 mana 5/6, so we're already stat-wise
It's a little
better than
bit
the other one.
We're making headway.
Flying. Whenever one or more creatures you control attack, you gain 1 life for each attacking creature, which is kind of an overly complicated way to word that.
Yeah,
in
if
my
a creature
opinion.
you control attacks, gain a life.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't understand what's so difficult about that, Wizards.
Fucking wizards.
Thank you. Now, this is an extremely good card. I don't think I need to tell you that. But in case you've been under a rock, there was a cycle of Elder Dragons in the new D&D set. And all of them are bangers, including this guy right here. If you pay 7, you get a 7/10. Insane. But here's the kicker. It's got flying, and when it deals combat damage to a player, which it probably will, because it's got flying, you roll a d20. Create a number of 1/1 blue fairies equal to the result. On average, you're going to hit somebody and make an average of 10.5 blue fairies. Unfortunately, that half fairy is just going to fucking die. But, hey, it is what it is. And the thing is I said that wrong. They're blue fairy dragons, which is incredibly
And
base.
way better than just blue fairies.
Yep.
There's a reason a 7 mana mono white card is $11.89. It's good.
Mm-hmm. All of the Elder Dragons are a lot of fun to play with. Of course, I wouldn't know what it's like to play with the Ancient Copper Dragon because that thing's, what, $80 now?
It's actually come down. I saw one on sale today for $56.
56?
Uh-huh.
That's still too damn expensive.
Congrats! You can buy the cheapest Warhammer 40k deck, or you can buy a single copper dragon.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that at some point too. Wizards, yeah, thanks for fucking us in the ass with the prices of these decks that we know you can make a profit off of for $20. Dakota, you want to read out the Dawn Sky because I can't keep my cigar lit?
Absolutely, because I actually really like this cycle of dragons from the new Kamigawa, a set that I thought I was really going to enjoy. Didn't really hit for me, but I do love these dragons. It is a 5 mana 5/4 with flying and vigilance, pretty good stats. And then when it dies, you choose one. Look at the top 7 cards of your library, put any number of non-land permanents with total mana value. Is that 4 or less?
Yeah, 4 or less.
From among them. Onto
What?
the battlefield.
From what?
Among them?
Among
us? Sussy? Vented?
Wow!
Or you can put 2/1 counters on each permanent you control that's a creature or vehicle.
I love that they included vehicle.
Right.
Because it came out in Kamigawa.
Dude,
That's
yo,
so fun.
is that dragon driving?
Oh my goodness. That would be a fun deck tech. It's just Owl the Dawn Sky mono white vehicles.
That
Let's
would be
go,
pretty
baby.
cool.
Let's push that fucking Great Plow with the fucking dragon. I'm here for it. All right. Anyways, great value if it dies. This is not as great a value. So,
Mono white
this is-
dragons, baby.
This is called Chardalyn Dragon. It is a 6 mana 4/4 flyer, and that's about it.
That is literally it.
Has killer artwork,
It does have killer artwork.
but it is not that good. Here's the thing, though. There's only like a total of about 30 dragons that could go in this deck, if you're not including Changeling. That's why.
Fuck them changelings.
That's why this motherfucker right here is here. Okay, this is a better dragon. One of the newest additions to the mono white list. This is Crystal Dragon. It's a 4/4 for 6. Wow, we're really hitting it with the 4/4s for 6 today, aren't
Right.
we? It's got flying and vigilance. Cool thing about it, it's got an adventure attached to it. So if you want to pay 2 for sorcery speed, you get to rob the horde, pulling an artifact, enchantment, or legendary card from your graveyard back to your hand. That's relevant because sometimes it's nice to just, oh, well, I'm going to do some other stuff. I have 2 mana left over. Well, I'll pull my commander back out of the graveyard if it died and I felt like reanimating it.
You Krosan gripped my true conviction. Congratulations.
Here comes the true
Rob the
conviction
horde.
right back. So, cool card. Fun artwork, too. Okay, very cool artwork, not a very good card. This is a Elder Landworm, which I know does not look like a dragon, but it is. It has trample. It cannot attack until assigned as a blocker, though, which is kind of a fun flavor win.
Yeah.
Because it's like
sitting in the ground.
Yeah, it's sitting buried in the sand, and if you wake it up, then it'll come out. But once you do that, it's only a 5/5 with trample. So
I mean, hey.
outclassed by today's standards, but hey,
So
we're
far, none of
playing-
our other dragons have a trample. So
we're playing mono white dragons. We're not playing Dragon, which, by the way, actually, Dragon might be a better mono white commander than any of the mono white dragons we have for this deck.
Tyler, color mixing is bad.
Well, but think about it. It costs 1 less, even if you never cast Dragon.
Right. Which you
Then it
never
still
would.
costs. Then that fucks with your mana curve for the entire deck. I think that's hilarious. Also, it'd be fun to be like, yeah, guys, Dragon costs like $70. So can we just pretend I have an Dragon right here and just show up with your 99 card mono white dragon deck and just say that all your dragons cost 1 less? The only time that matters is if somebody's playing Tevis Zot and they can steal commander from the
Right.
zone. That's the only time it matters. And if that case, well, I guess get
well,
fucked.
And listen, Wizards at this point is just begging us to print our own cards anyways.
Yeah. Wizards, you are very bold, first of all, in making these Warhammer decks $60. That's insane. That is
85 if you
multiple
want the black one.
That is like multiple hours of work for like listen, I get paid pretty decently, and that is multiple hours of work for me. There's a lot of people who play this game might only make what's minimum wage? 12?
Federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour.
Federal minimum is still 7. Yeah, so let's say 10. A lot of people out there in this world that play this game probably only make $10 an hour. That is a day's work for them to buy a new commander deck.
And that's not including the Magic 30 bullshit, which is going to sell a pack of
don't
30
even get me-
cards
I
for
can't-
$250. Fuck you, Wizard. I'm buying a printer.
That's absolutely but fucking insane. But what I love is that they're giving us these proxies.
Right. they're literally just proxies.
That is exactly the same fucking thing as me printing it at home.
You know what?
That's
I didn't know
insane.
this. So like 10 years ago, you could buy a whole alpha or beta set, one of the two. I was watching the professor's video on this. Kind of cringe, but he makes some high quality content.
Even a
when it
blind
comes to-
pig finds an acorn every once in a while.
You could buy a whole proxy set of like beta cards for $49.99 from Wizards of the Coast.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane. Am I smoking you out, Dakota?
No, we're good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Smoke.
Let me know if I do because
Literally, we could ramble about this all damn day.
Yeah,
on the
don't get me.
audacity of Wizards of the Coast. At this point, buy a printer, you'll save more money in the long run.
yeah, corporate greed is a hell of a drug.
What is
man.
it like? Number 5 card stock. There you go.
So, anyway, Eternal Dragon. This is a fun card. You pay 7, you get a 5/5 flyer. Now, if you pay 5, you can pull it from your graveyard back to your hand. You can only do that during your upkeep. Kind of sucks. It does have this neat ability, though. Is like early game, you get this thing, you pay 2, throw it away, go find a plains, and pull it in your hand. That's pretty cool. And then later in the game, you can pull it back to your hand if you have that option. It gives you options. It's in here because it's a mono white dragon, baby.
And it's got great artwork.
We're not playing Atraxa, okay? If you want to play high level Magic, then go watch fucking, I don't know who does CEDH content. I don't even know. I don't
I
watch
think
it.
like the Spike Feeders.
That's the only person I could possibly think of. They'll teach you how to build an optimized deck, but if you want to have fun, buckle up. We got more mono white dragons. Icing Death, Frost Tyrant. Hit it.
2 mana, 2, sorry, I'm fucking retarded. 2 and white for 4 mana, 4/3, Flying Vigilance. When it dies, create Ice Death, Frost Tongue, a legendary white equipment artifact token, with equipped creature gets +2/+0, and whenever equipped creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls, and equip 2. That's a lot of text. The reason I wanted to read this card is this is probably my favorite dragon in the deck.
Yeah,
I love Icing Death.
Icing Death is cool. No pun intended, but that's about it. He's not good.
He's $1 too, baby. Let's go.
He could be your commander if you want to switch it up. So, but he's a mono white dragon, Pearl Dragon. This is kind of an interesting one. In the right deck, it could probably actually be okay, but not in this deck. Wouldn't you know? Would you like to guess how? Don't look at the screen yet, Dakota. How
I'm
much
not
does
looking.
this dragon cost, and what is its power and toughness?
I believe that since I've already looked, it's 6 mana, 4/4.
Yeah, it's a 6-mana 4/4.
Does it have flying though?
It does have flying.
Oh, that's good. See, I was
It does
worried
have
it
flying
didn't.
and pay 2, give it holy armor. So
What does Holy Armor do?
I believe holy armor is +0/+1. I could be wrong.
Holy Armor is what you get when you pray to the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put on the full armor of God, ladies and gentlemen. Scale Lord Reckoner. This unironic. Holy smokes! This is a $16 card. When did this thing become a $16 card?
Congrats for being the best mono white dragon. You're
Wow.
$16.
This is unironically one of my favorite cards in my dragon deck.
I remember when we first originally were getting into, when I was first getting originally into Magic, seeing Scale Lord Reckoner and losing my mind because it's like, man, he's just gonna destroy whatever he wants, but I gotta kill it.
Yep. It sucks, especially when we were playing like Kitchen Table Jank, and it's like
Fuck yeah.
you do everything you can to get your one big expensive card out, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you want to take care of a dragon? Well, you got to use your removal spell on this guy first. So he's really interesting because if one of your dragons becomes targeted by a spell or an ability an opponent controls, then you just straight up destroy target non-land permanent.
I'm so happy that they put or ability because that a spell is probably the most common way for a permanent to get removed, but ability just is extra little that makes it so much better.
And it's very often to see somebody like with a Kelpie guide sort of an effect where they can tap and tap it and tap target creature. You get to blow something up for that. Next card, Scion of Ugin. Wouldn't you know it? It's a 6-mana 4/4. This is in the title. I'm going to put 6-mana 4/4 dot deck.
If that doesn't tell you how far Magic has come, you would have to pay 3 white and 3 to get a 6-mana 4/4. Now you got 6 mana, doesn't matter what. Congrats.
I will say, if you can get this card in foil, it looks beautiful. But that's
yes, it does.
Shield Hide Dragon.
You're gonna have to read this card.
I got
can't
you.
Read that
I got
shit.
you. I know Dakota's sitting further away from the computer than I am. You pay 6. You get a 3/3.
It's even worse.
Oh man, this is downhill, boys. You pay 6, you get a 3/3 flying lifelink dragon. It's got Megamorph for 7, which means if you cast this thing face down for 3, it becomes a 2/2. You turn it face up anytime for its Megamorph cost, and it gets a counter on it. When it's turned face up, put a +1/+1 counter on each other dragon you control.
Paid 10 mana for a 4/4.
But Dakota, it puts counters on all your dragons.
Oh boy, all 3
It's
of
dragon
them.
synergy, Dakota. We did it. We got there. Okay. We're not joking anymore. We ain't playing around no more.
Unironically, one of my least favorite cards in the game.
Tell them about it, Dakota.
Steel Hellkite, 6 mana, 5/5. We're better. Flying. You can pay 2 to give it +1/+0 until end of turn. And then you can pay X to destroy each non-land permanent with a mana value X whose controller was dealt damage by Steel Hellkite this turn.
Tell them a story about Steel Hellkite while I make sure that we're recording still.
What's this?
Yeah, we're still recording.
What's the story?
The story? Well, it seems like every time we talk about Steel Hellkite, you're like, oh, goddamn, I remember this is the worst thing I ever seen in my life. It's like, this is the most powerful Magic card I've ever seen. It just attacks and blows up all my shit.
Yeah, because Tower had a Flyers deck, and I had a deck with no Flyers.
What
I
was
had
your first deck?
vampires.
Oh, you had
Vampires or dinosaurs, both of them not really known for having wings.
Little wings, huge
Also,
wings.
The best part about Steel Hellkite is playing against the token deck.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's a great tech, especially today with the prevalence of treasures, because some asshole is gonna have 10 treasures from their Prosper Tomebound deck. You swing at them, pay 0, blow up all their 0 costs. Goodbye treasures, except for their lands. Sun Scorch Regent, you pay 5, you get a 4/3. Okay, not as bad of a rate, but they were like, you know what? We can't make that a 4/4. That's too strong. At rare.
It needs to die to
Thanks,
Lightning
Wizards. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this motherfucker, and you gain 1 life. That is good, however.
That is good.
That is pretty good, because this guy gets big fast, and he's a flyer.
I mean, especially if you think like a Prosper deck who casts 4 or 5 spells a turn.
Oh yeah, just keep track of that thing. It's like kind of like a Torian Mauler. Okay, this is a very strange card.
This is the best dragon. This is actually the best dragon.
Yeah, this is from Mirage. It's a 9 cost, 5/5 artifact creature dragon called Tika's Dragon.
Man, I don't know who Tika is, but man, they deserve a promotion for this bitch.
Yep, flying, trample, rampage 4. Okay, thankfully we have a reminder text here. For each creature assigned to block this bastard, beyond the first, this thing's going to get a +4/+4 bonus till the end of the turn.
So you get blocked by 2 creatures, it gets +4/+4. 3 creatures, +8/+8. The tech is to get this bitch a lure.
Yeah, if you can get lure on this thing, it's great. But unfortunately, even lure can't make non-flyers block flyers. So, it is what it is. Timeless Dragon. I have this as the artwork for a playmat, and I regret nothing. This is a fantastic artwork.
What's the other dragon with plane cycling too?
That's the other one. That was Eternal Dragon.
I deadass thought Eternal Dragon was Timeless Dragon.
Well,
Continue.
see, that's the thing. That's the joke, is that this thing came out in Modern Horizons 2, and they put Eternalize on it in remembrance of Eternal Dragon. But this is better. For 5, you get a 5/5. Holy smokes. Wizards, you gotta calm down with the power level on these fucking white dragons. Flyer. Plane cycling for 2. The same thing you could do with the Eternal Dragon. So throw it away, go find a planes, put it in your hand. But it has Eternalize. You pay 4. Exile it from your graveyard, and you get a copy of this bastard, except for it's a 4/4 black zombie dragon with no mana cost. You can only do that at sorcery speed. But it's really cool. Cool, this ends up in the graveyard, pay 4, get a 4/4 flyer.
Incredibly based.
With one of the coolest looking tokens in the game.
Tower, is Ugin able to be effed?
Dakota, depending on the time of day, I would say there's nothing that's ineffable.
But Ugin sure is in this card, baby.
Fuck yeah, baby. Except he's in the dragon section because he is a dragon, but he's not a creature. But he's still pretty cool. Since we're in a mono white deck, we have to rely on a lot of artifact effects, and we actually have a pretty good consistency of colorless cards.
We have like what, 20 artifacts?
Maybe something like that. At least, and he doesn't even care about artifacts. He cares about colorless spells.
Yep.
So he'll help you get that cost down a little bit because he says your colorless spells cost 2 less to cast. You +1. I'll read them because this text is very small and you're far away.
Thank you.
+1. Exile the top card of your library face down. Create a 2/2 colorless spirit token. When that token leaves the battlefield, the exile card goes in your hand. It's like better Manifest. -3. Destroy target permanent that's 1 or more colors. That's going to hit a lot of shit, my guy.
It's going to hit everything but artifacts.
So, pretty solid. You can drop him, immediately remove something. And think of him as a removal spell, but with upside and cool artwork.
I remember when this card was $80.
I remember when my LGS looked me dead in the eyes and said, I'll pay you, what, $20 for it, when it was like $89 on TCG Player.
I traded a Renin 6 for 1. Man, did I fuck that up.
Oh, man. Ujin the Spirit Dragon. This was the boogeyman go-to chase card from when I first started playing Magic, so he holds a special place in my heart. For one, he has insanely beautiful artwork, but even more insane than his artwork is his power. Do you want to hit this shit, my guy?
Yes, so 8 mana, 7 loyalty planeswalker, +2 him to deal 3 damage to any target, -X to destroy each permanent with, not destroy, way better, exile each permanent with CMC X or less.
And
that's one or more colors.
And that's minus what, Dakota?
-X.
-X, so that means you can do as much as you want?
As much as you can pay.
But he only has, but it's into his loyalty, and how much, he has 7 loyalty? So you can
board.
So you can exile each permanent that's a color that costs 7 or less.
Everything but Tika's Dragon, baby.
That Tika's Dragon is going to withstand the storm. That is an insanely powerful board wipe that goes in any commander deck.
So a surprising amount of dragons have vigilance, so it's not shocking to think that maybe you can ult Ugin -10. You gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, then you can put 7 permanents from your hand onto the battlefield.
Great effect.
That basically means hope you have a board wipe or I'm winning.
So here's the deal with Ugin. If you want to do that ult, minimum 3 turns. 3 turns after you paid 8 for this bastard.
Yep.
So take that with a grain of salt. We're really here because he's an insane board wipe.
Yep.
Ward Scale Dragon, another cool Abzan looking dude. You pay 6 for, wouldn't you guess it, a 4/4. At least this one's uncommon though, and not a rare. Flying. If it's attacking, the defending player can't cast spells. So no funny tricks once you're in combat. Or not from when you're in combat. Once you declare them attacking a person. So
White Dragon.
Not, wouldn't you know it?
6 mana 4/4.
It's a 6 mana 4/4.
They found that right, and they said, "Man, why we were looking for gold and we found diamonds, boy."
Oh man. So, little lore thing here. The thing about, like, I've been playing D&D for like a little over a year now, and I've been DMing for probably how long, Dakota?
About 3 months.
About 3 months or more. I feel like it's more than that. But anyway, I've done a lot of research since I decided I wanted to DM a D&D game for my buddies. The thing about white dragons and D&D lore, where this one comes from, because this is from the D&D set, white dragons are among the most brutal of all of the dragons, of what's known as the chromatic dragons. The metallic dragons, like the gold dragon we talked about earlier, are pretty nice guys. They're decent. They're not just going to come out and kill you.
Hey, I'm a nice guy.
Hey, we're just a couple of guys. We just want to talk to you. But the white dragon is insanely evil. And so, not that mono white has to be the color of goodness, but usually it's like the color of unity and strength in numbers. And it was kind of a flavor fail for Wizards to make this a mono white, because if anything, as far as Magic's concerned, the white dragon should have been a mono black card, because they are very mono black in their attitudes.
They should have made the black dragon the white card.
Mm.
Then they should have made the green dragon a red dragon, the red dragon a blue dragon,
Just
and the
fucking,
blue dragon
just
a green
fucking
dragon.
mix them up. Yeah, that's just, yeah. But anyways, wouldn't you know it? 6 mana 4/4. It's got flying, and it's got this ability that they label with flavor text Cold Breath. When White Dragon enters the battlefield, you tap target creature and opponent controls, and it does not untap during its next untap step. So, unfortunately, you only get that when it enters, which sucks.
Teleportation circle.
But it is a White Dragon. Yosei the Morning Star, another opportunity to switch your commander.
6 mana 5/5.
We're making headway.
It does. When he dies, target player skips his or next untap step. Tap 5 target permanents that player controls.
That's pretty decent.
That's pretty decent. Yeah, that's
you
pretty
can
decent.
you can make some pretty nasty wombo combos with this boy. I have seen people build decks around that ability, but he's here for value and because big white flying dragon. Oh, Dakota, we're out of the dragon section.
We're into the draw section
So-
with Book of Ass.
Book of Ass. So for 6 mana, you get an artifact. Now you can basically poor man's
Greed.
greed. Thank you. Pay 2 life. Draw a card. That's pretty much it.
Call of the Gatewatch.
This is to get us to our 2 Ugins. This is
Oogie.
what this is here for. Or it's here to get us one of the Ugins, excuse me. Endless Atlas.
A card that Tyler was high on that I wasn't, that I've become high on since.
It's pretty decent, and if you're playing monocolored decks, it goes in.
It's not Book of Ass, but it's pretty
Well,
good.
If you're playing a monocolored deck that's white or red,
This is as good as you're getting. Yeah.
possibly like, I don't know, but in some other decks, but it's you pay 2 to get it on the battlefield, and from there you can pay 2, tap it, draw a card, but you can only do it if you have 3 or more lands of the same name. You're gonna. Esper Sentinel. He costs over $20 for a reason. He is the Ristic Buddy. You pay 1, you get a 1/1.
I've never heard that before. I like that.
Ristic Buddy.
He's so good. He's just a little buddy. He's a little guy.
You know?
Don't kill my little buddy.
So, once your opponent casts their first spell, their first non-creature spell, I should say, you get to draw a card unless they pay X, which odds are they're not going to, and you're going to get to draw a card. Eye of Vecna, a pretty solid card in a mono white or mono red deck. You pay 2, enters the battlefield, you draw a card, you lose 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, you can pay 2, and if you do, you draw a card and lose 2 life. So, if you need card draw at the start of your turn, you know you need that little boost, then you can pay the piper and get a little bit more value.
Ignite the Beacon.
Thank you.
4 mana white. Search your library for up to 2 Planeswalker cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, shuffle your library. What a coincidence. We have exactly 2 Planeswalkers.
Yep. And it is instant speed, which is nice because you can hold up the mana like you're threatening removal, which we do have, and then boom, I'm going to go find Ugin, and now I really do have removal.
You're going to have to read that.
Let me talk to you about Inheritance. This is some saucy tech. It's only a quarter. For 1 mana, you get an enchantment. Pay 3. You get to draw a card. Use this ability only if a creature is put into the graveyard from play, and only once for each creature put into the graveyard. Now, I don't know if that's only your graveyard, because it says the graveyard, but until then, I'm going to assume it's whenever a creature dies.
It's whenever a creature dies.
Which is pretty solid. If you have 3 mana lying around and you blow up something, or somebody else blows something, or something dies in combat, you just capitalize on that and get a little bit of card draw.
Creatures dying is a core mechanic of the game, and anything that takes advantage of that, no matter the cost of it,
Yep.
it's going to get you more value than you would think you'd get.
And we get it in mono white too, which is great. Oblation is a removal spell, but in this deck, it's more of a draw spell. Because basically what this says is use the tuck rule on your own commander to put it back in the command zone and then draw 2 cards. Or blow up a token that you made at some point. Or, yeah, worst case scenario, somebody's got their fucking, I don't know, what do they got on the battlefield that's a threat? Their Rakamar.
Yes.
And it's just fucking your day up. And you're like, I gotta get rid of that Rakamar. Boom, Oblation, shuffle it in their library, they get to draw 2 cards.
Right.
Or use it as a political tool, like, hey, let me blow up your token and maybe you can draw into some help and help me out because we're about to die. Roadside Reliquary.
We're into the lands, baby.
No, this is not the land section.
Oh, this is the
We're
draw?
still in the draw
Oh,
section.
we're still in the draw section.
So,
shut the fuck up.
No, you're good. Colorless land. You can pay 2, sack it, draw a card if you have an artifact, draw a card if you have an enchantment. Odds are you're going to have 1, and you're probably going to have 2. Tome of Legends. You pay
Great
2.
card.
Enters the battlefield with a page counter on it. How cute. When your commander enters the battlefield or attacks, which we already want him to do, this guy gets page counters. Pay 1, tap it, pull a page counter off, draw a card.
This card got expensive.
Did it? Ooh.
This is $6. I remember when this was like $1.
Yeah. I don't think this is $6 expensive. That doesn't make much sense. War Room, however, is pretty fucking good. It's a colorless land. You pay 3, tap it, pay 1 life in this instance, and you get to draw a card. Wedding Ring, very expensive. You pay 4 mana. When it enters the battlefield, if it was cast, then you get to target an opponent and get a token that's a copy of it. So how this works is you and another player get married. Congratulations. And whenever that person draws cards, you get to draw that many cards. And and whenever they gain life, you get to gain that much life, and vice versa, because now you both have a copy of Wedding Ring. So help out the mono red player next to you, or you can slap this onto the blue player, because you're not going to help the blue player with your meager draws, but he's going to draw cards, and you might as well take advantage of that shit.
I'm not as high into that card as Tower is, for the fact of all they have to do is destroy the token, and then that card's dead. It doesn't do it. Doesn't do anything.
No, it's not perfect, but I tell you what, it's a lot of fun, and you can draw a lot of cards off of it. You might as well, in a mono white deck, you might as well slap Castle Ardenvale in here.
Yep.
Because it's not going to enter tapped. There's no way this thing enters tapped, because it's only 1 planes you need. And then later on, if you have 4 mana with nothing to do, get a human. Get a 1/1 human that you can oblation, or that you can block somebody's Juggernaut, or whatever.
Yep.
That's the first thing that came to my head. Might as well. We are in the land section now, Dakota.
Lands.
that was the land section, I believe.
Believe it
started.
or not, you don't need a lands in your deck. That's government propaganda.
Yeah, that's propaganda.
But
just
this
put
one
cards,
is cool.
Just put cards on the battlefield. Cave
This
of the
is
Frost Dragon.
Yu-Gi-Oh now.
You got it.
Cave of the Frost Dragon. If you control 2 or more other lands, Cave of the Frost Dragon enters the battlefield tapped. Kind of confusing. Not really. Just play this before you play 3 lands. Taps to add white, or you can pay 5. Don't have to tap it. It becomes a 3/4 white dragon creature with flying until end of turn. It's still a land. This card, I've watched people play it on Brawl and stuff. This card's sneaky because they're like, oh, he's just got lands. And the next thing you know, he's like, I can block these creatures and I'll live. And you just pay 5 mana and you can finish a guy with that 3/4. Because he just be sneaky. And he's got some cool art.
Or turn it topside and put that Frost Tongue on it or something.
Hell yeah. Plains.
Yep.
32.
All right, now we're in the protection section of the deck. The very short section because I pulled out a lot of other cards that I thought were too expensive for my taste. The 2 cards I pulled out, in case you're interested, were Blind Obedience and Authority of the Consuls. They're both a little stacksy, and frankly, I think it's better to put in fun stuff in this deck than do things that are going to piss off your opponents and force their attention at you. Sometimes it's better to fly under the radar.
Especially in a low-power deck.
If you can't fly under the radar and your opponent board wipes, Rootborn Defenses is the tool for you. You populate. Probably not going to be relevant, but you just get to straight up make all of your fuckers indestructible for a turn.
Incredibly based.
Teferi's Protection.
Expensive, you phase out.
But you save all your stuff.
We are in ramp.
Ramp section. So, Mono White can ramp. I don't know if anybody's told you that, but Mono White can still ramp.
Thank you,
Arcane Signet. Archaeomancer's Map. This thing lets you go find some lands, put them in your hand. And then it kind of explores, if you're familiar with that card. Dragon's Horde.
Extremely flavorful.
This is extremely fun, too. 3 mana. When it enters, under your control, it gets a gold counter. So you automatically get 1. And you can tap, pull off a gold counter, and draw a card, which is cool because pay 3 mana, draw a card on the first turn if you need it. Then, tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So,
you don't have to remove a counter for that neither.
Yep.
Did you know, Tyler, that if you put a Dragon Sword in your deck, you have made it an official Dragon Tribal deck?
Oh, you are?
Yeah, regardless of what else is in there. If you got a Dragon Sword in there,
so like let's say I was playing Jund.
Yeah.
Oh wow, how cool. Hedron Archive, decent mana rock. Pay 4, get 2 mana. You can sack it later to draw 2 cards, which is relevant for us. Monologue Tax. This is not nearly as powerful as we all thought it was going to be, just because it has a guy puking up gems. So here we thought, oh cool, it's the next Smothering Tide.
It was not even close.
It's still good.
This card was pre-ordering for like $20, and it's $3.30 now.
It's still a good card though, because odds are your opponents are going to be casting spells, and then you just get to make treasure tokens off of their second spell each turn. Oketra's Monument, super based, pulls all of the cost of your white creatures down by 1. Really cool. So sorry, Shardolin Dragon, you're not going to get your mana cost reduced. But whenever you cast a creature spell, you get a 1/1 white warrior with Vigilance, which is pretty solid to have a little guy on the ground to take care of business while you send the big guys up top flying to go in for some damage.
Plus, he got Vigilance.
Exactly.
This should have been a Vigilance Tribal deck.
Vigilance Tribal deck. Pearl Medallion is extremely expensive. If you can afford it, it's a great spell because it's going to make all your dragons cost 1 less to cast. All your white creatures.
Dude, this looks like a worse monologue tax.
So, is Smothering Tithe really down to $23?
Yeah, this is
Wow.
probably as cheap as it's going to get for a while. It's not a bad pickup.
Really? I thought it was expensive again. But, yeah, you know what Smothering Tithe does. Soul Ring, you know what it
Soul
does.
Ring does.
Urza's Incubator.
$50 fucking dollars.
I cannot
bought this
believe
card for $5 at one point.
This should not be a $50 card. This should be reprinted into the ground because help out the tribal decks.
Why is it so expensive?
You pick a creature type, we choose dragon. Cool, now all my dragons cost 2 less. Next thing you know, it doesn't seem so bad to cast a 4/4 for 1 mana.
Right.
Wayfarer's Bauble. Yeah, you should know what this does if you like
watch
Commander.
the Commanders. If you watch us, you watch the Commanders' quarters, you know what Wayfarer's Bauble does.
Yeah, if you found our asses, then you found out. Listen, you had to go through a lot of other shit to find us.
And we appreciate all y'all for doing so.
All 44 of you. Breath of Life. Now, something that people don't realize about Mono White is they actually have some decent reanimation.
They do.
If you look into it. It's a little bit more expensive than some of the other ones, but it's still possible. Breath of Life, pay 4, reanimate a creature. Late to Dinner.
Same thing.
Better than Breath of Life.
Because you get to eat too.
Yeah, because you also make a food token. Mimic Vat. Kind of a recursion spell.
Instead,
by the way, we're in the recursion section.
This is instead of making a 6 mana 4/4 with flying, here's a 3 mana 4/4 with flying.
Somebody kills your Somebody
Or
kills.
Nadar, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of his name. Somebody kills Nadar. Cool. Put him in the Mimic Vat. Pay 3. Make him enter. Cool. You get to venture into the dungeon and get value. Then he has haste. You attack with him. Okay. Then he goes back. You pay 3. You do it again. You're getting 2 dungeon triggers each time.
Just whatever you do not let them blow up Mimic Vat, otherwise your commander is gone.
Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah, unless you can sacrifice something on the stack of them
But
blowing
putting
it up.
like an owl underneath the Mimic Vat,
Yeah, Owl the Dawn Sky goes insane.
probably
with
the
Mimic
best
Vat.
one to do.
What was that one I put under the Mimic Vat the other day in my my Jund Zaitora?
I think it was Mr. Orfeo.
Was it Mr.? I think I've done Mr. Orfeo, but I think I did like.
Or no, it was what's her bucket? The Green Warden of Marassa, wasn't it?
That's right. There you go. You found it. Yeah,
Just kept recurring stuff.
anything that has dies effects or enters the battlefield effects. I mean,
Because what
is
you
pretty damn good.
what you
with
did,
the
you
Mimic
paid
Vat.
3 to brought back the Green Warden, and then brought back like your Lightning Skelemental. Cast your Lightning Skelemental. You'd have to sacrifice both of them. You'd return it back to your hand.
So, here's the thing. I don't know if this works very well with Owl the Dawn Sky, because Owl the Dawn Sky needs to die.
Yeah.
But this doesn't die.
Oh, it says, does it say Exile?
Yes. Once when it dies, you get the effect, but then
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
have to
work that
exile.
great with Exile.
So, slight faux pas there. But Austere Command, we're in the removal section, baby, and Mono White's got
My
some
favorite board
good
wipe.
stuff. Thank goodness this thing is no longer $12.
Yes.
It is now $1. Pay 6 for a 4/4.
This
so-
was actually going to be a 6-mana tribal deck.
I guess, man. But you pick 2 of the following effects that let you blow up basically whatever you want. So pick your own board wipe. Crush Contraband.
I love Crush
One or both,
Contraband.
blow up an artifact and or enchantment.
Not just blow up, exile them suckers.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So if you don't want to see that Steel Hellkite anymore, you can say goodbye. Day of Judgment. It's a Wrath of God, but slightly worse, question
I
mark?
remember when these used to be like $40, and now they're $2.
I don't know if Day of Judgment was ever $40, was it?
I don't know. I didn't even know Day of Judgment really existed. I always just knew of Wrath of God.
Wrath of God's been expensive. Forsake the Worldly. Really cool card. If you need to, you can throw it away with the cycling effect and draw a different card. But if you don't, then you've got exile target artifact or enchantment.
Which is, exile is just so much better than destroy.
And it's an instant speed. Generous gift. Blow up anything you want and give them an elephant. Or give yourself an elephant. I'm not your dad. Mass Calcify. Blows up. Unfortunately, this will blow up your Chardalyn Dragon and your Scion of Ugin. So,
And
maybe
it's 7
you should
mana, not 6.
maybe you should cut it because it's going to blow up your colorless dragons.
You
But
can't
leave,
let them die. They're the most powerful.
but it will leave alone your other powerful dragons. Path to Exile. 1 mana, exile something, and who cares? Swords of Plowshares. 1 mana, exile something, and who cares? Terminus. You can miracle it out for 1 mana, which is really fun. But put all creatures on the bottom of their owner's libraries.
Which is oftentimes way better than a board wipe.
Actually, yes. Especially when you're playing against, like, Marin of Clan Neltoth.
Like, if you did that to my Nethroi deck, I'd be fucked.
Yeah, you have a lot of rebuilding to do for
Yeah.
that, don't you? Wrath of God, marginally better than Day of Judgment.
See, that's $5.
And that's the deck, Dakota.
We did it.
We did it. We got through that whole thing. That was a pretty quick one.
Tell us if you like the new format of us just clicking through the cards through.
Yeah.
I got this from another YouTuber who uses Moxfield to kind of do the same thing. But we didn't want to use Moxfield because we can't separate it by categories.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah.
What's the
that's,
total deck cost there,
The
Tyler?
total deck cost? Well, let me back it out. Unfortunately, this is a spendy deck. As it sets right now, this one that I have built costs $300.
If you want to take $100 off, take out
Yep.
the Urza's Incubator and
Take
take
out
out the
2 cards.
Ristic Buddy.
Hold on. Where is it? In the wrong section. Damn. Where did it go?
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for Smothering Tithe
It's in the
in the ramp
section,
section, which I thought the ramp section was
right there.
right here. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So, pull out the Smothering Tithe and put in a Mind Stone.
Also,
You
go up
save
real quick for me.
$20.
Go up. How
Pull
do
out
you-
Teferi's Protection and put in a land. You save another $20.
Go ahead and
There's
hit settings for me real quick.
settings.
Yeah.
Where, right here?
Bottom left. Yeah. Click that shit. Where does it let you change the? Do you have TCG Player or Card Kingdom as the prices?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if you're using Architect, use TCG Player. the Card Kingdom prices are way different and way off, and they'll artificially raise the cost of your deck. Okay, right there. Hang on, click X.
Did you find it?
Yes. Underneath the ad on the right.
Oh, price source.
Just make sure that's first. TCG player, and click both on TCG player. And then
Refresh.
Yeah.
Ding.
Well, I guess the deck is actually
Yeah, I
just
guess the deck is
$311, so I'm
expensive.
gonna shut the fuck up.
Damn it! Now these
Ignore
ads
all
are
that.
back. But anyway, that's pretty much the deck. If you want to save some serious money, you can probably turn this, because the biggest part of this deck is the dragons. There's only 2 expensive dragons in this list.
Yep.
That's Ancient Dragon, which is like $12, and then Reckoner, which is like $16.
Shockingly $16.
Which I did not actually know until now. Apparently, Tika's Dragon is 8. You could cut it as well, but I wouldn't recommend
That's
it
just
because
8 because it's old.
it's based.
As we've talked about earlier, buy a printer. Cardstock number 5.
Yeah, buy a printer. Yeah, no kidding. But anyways, I think we're gonna wrap it up from here. Dakota, you got anything else to say?
No.
Cool.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
If you're not subscribed, do it or don't. I'm not your mom.
Yeah, we're not your dad. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you have an amazing day. Build some jank. Tell us, please, what you would like to see built, because I want to see your ideas for what we should build and do on the show.
Or if there's anything else you want us to talk about, we can rant.
Yeah,
Don't
if you want to hear us rant about how much we hate wizards, we're happy to do
yeah,
it.
we'll do it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, God bless you, and I hope you have an awesome day.
Jesus loves you.